Greater Manchester was struck by a natural disaster that left hundreds of residents trapped and caused significant damage across the region. On January 1st, 2025, heavy rains triggered massive flooding in several areas, including Bolton, Didsbury, Harpury, Stalybridge, Stockport, and Wigan. The floods swept away homes, submerged vehicles, and left many people stranded, marking a chaotic and bleak start to the year. Greater Manchester Police declared a major incident, mobilizing emergency services and local agencies to respond to the crisis. In Didsbury, the River Mersey reached record levels, prompting resident evacuations and the rescue of at least one person trapped in Fletcher Moss Park. In Stockport, the Meadow Mill building was surrounded by water, forcing rescue teams to evacuate stranded residents. Ground floors and parking areas were completely submerged, leaving residents without drinking water or electricity. Helen Scott, a fourth-floor resident, described the scene as devastating, with numerous cars, including her own, fully underwater. The region's canals also overflowed, worsening the situation. In Dunnamassey, the Bridgewater Canal collapsed for the first time in over 50 years, sending torrents of water into nearby fields and residential areas. In the Cheal area, roads were submerged, power supplies were cut, and homes were flooded. In Broadbottom, a collapsed wall exacerbated the chaos, damaging cars and allowing water to flow directly into houses. Transportation across the region was paralyzed. Major roads, such as the M56, were closed in multiple sections due to flooding across all three lanes. The A555, a key route to Manchester Airport, turned into a lake, trapping numerous vehicles. Rail services were also severely disrupted. Lines between Manchester and Warrington, as well as routes to Liverpool, Huddersfield, and York, were suspended. TransPennine Express urged passengers to avoid traveling before noon due to the chaos. Emergency services responded swiftly, but faced immense challenges. Mountain rescue teams, firefighters, and paramedics worked together to evacuate those trapped. At the junction of Blackbrook Road and West End Road, firefighters dealt with severe flooding that affected homes and vehicles alike. In Warrington, 3 people were rescued from a submerged car using a rescue raft. Meanwhile, police and local councils urged residents to follow official updates and take precautions. The River Mersey reached its highest recorded level in North Endon at 3.71 meters, while some areas received up to 80 millimeters of rain in just 24 hours. This overwhelmed river systems and led to numerous flood alerts being issued across the region. Images shared on social media showed flooded kitchens and gardens as residents tried to save what they could. At the Meadow Mill apartment block, emergency teams delivered drinking water by boat due to the lack of supply. Helen Scott recounted wading through knee-high water to return home after New Year's celebrations. "There's no electricity or running water, and everything is chaos," she said. Similar struggles were faced by residents in Didsbury and Stockport. In Cheshire, the collapse of the Bridgewater Canal aqueduct led to evacuations of nearby properties, while the persistent rain continued to saturate the ground. Local authorities set up temporary shelters, such as the Ormskirk Civic Hall, to provide relief for those affected. "The kettle's on, and everyone is welcome," read a post on social media, highlighting the community's effort in the face of disaster. As the day progressed, water levels slowly began to recede in some areas. However, warnings from the Met Office remained in effect, with amber and yellow alerts covering much of Greater Manchester, Cheshire, and Merseyside. This kept emergency services on high alert, anticipating potential further flooding. The impact on Manchester Airport was significant. Flooding in surrounding areas left hundreds of passengers stranded, with flights delayed or cancelled. Airport staff urged travelers to allow extra time and check flight statuses before leaving home. Meanwhile, the lack of road and rail access further complicated the situation. The Environment Agency warned residents along the Tame and Mica rivers of the ongoing risk of overflow. Recommendations included moving valuable belongings to higher places and avoiding flood-prone areas. Despite these efforts, many homes were completely inundated, resulting in considerable material losses. Scenes in Stockport, Didsbury, and other critical areas illustrated the magnitude of the disaster. Rescue teams worked tirelessly to save those trapped and minimize damage. In Broadbottom, the wall collapse intensified the crisis, while in Wigan, floodwaters engulfed extensive residential areas. Manchester City Council leader Bev Craig emphasized the importance of collaboration between emergency services and local agencies. "We're working together to monitor water levels and provide support to affected residents," she stated. This coordination was crucial for responding effectively to the emergency. As the weather began to stabilize slightly, emergency services turned their focus to recovery efforts. However, the impact of the floods left a lasting mark on the region. Many families now face the daunting task of rebuilding their homes and lives in the aftermath of the disaster. This event highlighted the vulnerability of infrastructure to extreme weather events. Despite the devastation, the community demonstrated remarkable resilience, coming together to tackle the challenge. As the waters recede, attention shifts to reconstruction and preventive measures to avert similar disasters in the future.